Hey YouTube, and welcome back to Adoption Talk. Today what I want to do is share my reunion story. And I'm making this video the day after I had something like a second reunion with my mom yesterday. And the meeting went really well. I mean, it was actually really great, but I'm also really surprised at some of the feelings I've been having today and really yesterday since she left. Like, I'm kind of surprised at myself. But before I start talking about that, I want to share my reunion story so you can kind of understand where I'm coming from. So, I found out I was adopted when I was 7, and then when I was 10, my grandmother reached out to my mother to meet me. And so I don't know what their conversation was like, but my mom talked to me about it. I was like, yeah, I do want to. And not too long later, I ended up meeting them at the hometown buffet. And I met my grandparents, my 2 uncles, a little cousin, and my mom. And I was there with my mother and father as well. And it was a good meeting, you know. It felt like, you know, I mean, I can't exactly remember, but I just remember being quiet. And so it was not a place where I expressed any feelings at all. And, but I was really excited to have gotten a chance to meet her, talk to her, and I was looking forward to having, you know, a relationship with her. But unfortunately, things really did not work out that way. The next time I saw her, it was about 6 months later, and she was all big and pregnant. And I just remember when she walked in the door that day, like, my heart just like sank, because I knew that, you know, I never was gonna get that chance to be her daughter. And you know, and unfortunately, the way a lot of adoptions go, you know, nobody asked me how I felt about anything, and I actually tried to express, you know, some of the little bit of hurt I felt to my mom, my adoptive mother, like, later on. And, you know, she just kind of, like, told me that I shouldn't feel that way. You know, I remember her being like, well, isn't she supposed to move on with her life? It's like, I guess. You know, so nobody really took into consideration how I was going to feel about anything. And, you know, I guess what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So moving on from that, at that point on, I became very self-destructive. And, you know, I was just determined to to hurt myself. Like, I don't even know if I did it consciously. I can only just think back to how I was. I just know that I just no longer was preserving myself from anything. And, you know, I allowed myself to be violated, and, you know, and I just gave all my precious jewels away because I just didn't feel any value for myself. And that's just what it was. And I'm just so grateful that my husband, that I met my husband when I was 15, and I'm so glad he came into my life because he really stopped me on that path. You know, he really, you know, he gave me something else to focus on, except for, you know, like, all I had was like the negative feelings. I'm from the age of, you know, 10 through 15, all I have is the fact that I'm adopted and I'm never going to be able to have a good relationship with my mother. and you know, plus all the hormones of being a teenager, plus, you know, just all this crap. That was my focus. It's just the crappy life I was living, even though on the outside it looked like a happy life because, you know, I didn't grow up poor or anything like that, but at the same time I was emotionally deprived in many, many ways. And so you know, so anyways, when I met my husband, that really stopped. I was able to focus on him, you know, and we're actually both adopted, and we both grew up as only children, and I really feel like that has been a huge part of our connection because it's just this unspoken understanding between us. We have a very similar perspective on life. So and I was able to just focus on him, and even still, I wanted to be a teenage mom. I don't know if that had anything to do with MTV or if it was just me, but I just wanted to have his baby, and I really just wanted to like have that family. I wanted to have somebody, I wanted somebody to love me. I wanted to have that like real family feeling, and so my teenage self, tried to get pregnant, and I'm surprised that that it took me as long to get pregnant as it did. I didn't actually become pregnant until I was 17 in my senior year of high school, and it worked out. Honestly, as much as some of these things are negative, like I know that I was trying to do something negative, but they ended up being positive in my life, and so that's kind of where my story is like I feel like a diamond, like I'm just constantly under pressure, constantly being forced to grow and change, but the end product is like this beautiful, rare, shining thing that is priceless, has so much value. So as much as adoption is taken away from me, I feel like it's also added a lot of value to my life, and the truth is it's added more value to my life than it has taken away. And right now I'm just having to deal with the subconscious issues that I've never dealt with before. So in my story, I think I'm at the point where I got pregnant in my high school, and then I had my baby. I had already turned 18. My birthday's in April, and then my daughter was born in July. So I was able to graduate. I walked across the stage, 8 months pregnant, and I never gave myself the credit that I should give myself. I'm going to pat myself on the back because, I went to school every day pregnant. I made an announcement because I really hated this whole, like, people are looking at me. Am I pregnant? Am I just fat? So I just made like an announcement in my psychology class that, yeah, I was having a baby, and I feel like I did it really well, and everybody was like really receptive, all the way to the point where like they gave me this baby shower at the end of the school year, and it really meant a lot to me because I really didn't have close relationships, so I didn't have any best friends or anything like that. And so I had my baby when I was 18, and it was, and I was determined to be a good mother. I had an all-natural childbirth, which was really important to me. I really felt like that was my rite of passage, and I had been living with my dad, my adoptive father, throughout my pregnancy, and then when I gave birth, my mom was just totally there for me, and like I have to thank her too, because I always kind of felt like she wasn't able to have her own children, but it didn't matter because she was there for me when it came, and all of my kids. She has been there helping me deliver my kids every single time, and I just really have to give her up some praises to whatever emotions that may have rose up in her, about seeing me be able to have kids so easily. She really was there for me regardless, and also like when I delivered my daughter, my mom was there, my husband's mother was there, and as well as my grandmother and my natural mom. She came and fought all this traffic to come too, and it really meant a lot to me that they were all there for me when I delivered my daughter. And from then, since I was no longer a child, and I had my freedoms, and plus I was trying to make this family work, and me and my mom, my adoptive mom, she was my mom, so it was of course she's the one with the rules, and the expectations and stuff. So it's sometimes it was hard for me to communicate with her about what I was going through, but it was a lot easier for me to communicate with my natural mom because, she was younger, more understanding, plus she didn't have all this responsibility of me, to where I could just talk to her about what was going through. And we started building a closer bond over that year after my daughter was born. And I would go and I'd spend the weekend, my husband and my little baby would go spend the weekend with her, and we would become closer and closer, and I loved it. And all the way to the point where she convinced me that it would be a good idea to move to the area where she was living. The area that I was born and raised in is like a little bit more expensive, than the area that she was in, so it was going to be a good idea economically, and plus she was like, you can have some guidance, and it's like I needed a mentor. I was a teenage mom. I'm 18 years old with a baby, working, bills, rent, I needed some guidance. And talking to my adoptive parents, well, they were kind of more like on the whole, you made your bed, well, now lie in it aspect. So I did end up moving into the new area when I was pregnant with my first son. My daughter and my son are only 2 years apart, so within that I ended up moving there before moving out here till before he was born. And and we were cool. And what happened between us is the fact of she braids hair, or braided hair, and she had done my hair for me, and she told me that she wanted to basically give me a gift of, I will braid your hair and keep your hair braided for 2 years. And for me that was like a big deal because now that I was no longer a student, I was no longer getting my mom wasn't paying for my hair to get done, and I never learned how to deal with my natural hair. My mom always just took me to the hair shop. I dealt with getting a permanent, and that's just all I dealt with. So I never really learned how to take care of my hair. So it was kind of something that I was struggling with as a young adult. And so she said that she was going to take care of my hair for me, and I was really grateful. Like, wow, I felt like that was like something, like that was the beginning of, me getting something from her, because I always wanted her to be like a mom to me, and I don't think she ever expected that. I don't know. I'm not gonna even put any words. I just can say how I feel is that I always wanted her to want to do something for me, want to be a part of my life, and so it felt really good that she wanted to do my hair, and so I totally accepted it. That was totally reasonable. I think that 18 years of not being my mom, that braiding my hair for keeping my hair done for me was going to be a great turnaround. And so it was all good, and we both had to work, so we weren't able to see each other as often, but I called her maybe a couple months later, like, hey, I'm ready to get my hair done again. I think we did this in text message, and then she sends a message, oh, I forgot to tell you, I don't do hair anymore. And I must have just went off. Like, I was just completely hurt. And I don't remember what I said, but I just know that I expressed to her that I was extremely hurt by the fact that she didn't want to do my hair. And instead of her responding like, hey, let me explain, or why are you so upset about this? Why is this bothering you so much? She just kind of like shot fire back at me, like, well, she did not consider my feelings at all. And so that just told me, that just based on her response to me, let me know that I stopped talking to her, and then she stopped talking to me, we just didn't talk. And we would see each other on like holiday at my grandparents' house or something like that, and pretend like there was nothing wrong, and then we just never speak, and then see you at the next holiday and pretend like there was nothing wrong and never speak, and then just never speak. And then, that went on for about 8 years. And in between that, like, she did, like, say some, I don't know, some stuff. Like, she apologized lightweight, but, like, we just never spoke on it. And I had sent her a message after, like, maybe 2 years ago. I sent her a Facebook message really laying it out. My feelings. I feel like I articulated my feelings as clearly as possible. And it was just feelings of, why you don't never come see me. And she responded really harshly. In fact, I can remember she goes, I think it's better if you don't contact me when you're feeling emotional. And I was like, OMG. Like, I talked to a couple of friends about that, and they were just like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, how can someone be so cruel? And, but even still, I forgave. And we had made previous plans to hook up, and she just never, like, she never, like, followed through, and I just would let time pass, and all the time that passed, like, it was hurting me really badly inside. Like, for a point, you get sad, then you become angry, then you get sad again, and that just was my cycle of being sad and angry. And but then I did decide in one of my emotional spells was that what I really want, which is a relationship with my mother, and just to be close with her and be able to share my life with her, and so I decided, that I had to forgive her. If she was interested in having a relationship with me, then I would forgive her. So I did. And yesterday she came to see me, and it was the first time that we'd seen each other, and it was like about us. It wasn't like some Thanksgiving day. It was just about us, and and she looked great, and she has a lot more free time now, so for us to be able to kind of bond, and I'm looking really forward to the future, and yesterday there was no bad feelings, like, and she was open to talking about whatever, and she goes, so you have any questions? What do you want to talk about? And I was like, let's talk about something else. I just wasn't in that space where I was really sad, because I was really just happy, like, fuck the past, fuck it. I just want to love you now. Let's just start. And then plus my kids were there too, and I was really happy that.
I'm not gonna be in it.
No, you can't be in the room though. You can't. Because I'm talking about something that I'm not comfortable talking about in front of you. You have to wait. Okay? If you don't, then
My class.
after I'm done. Okay. Okay. That was my baby. He's like, I won't be in it. I'm like, nah, you can't be in here. And of course, I'm like a little bit sidetracked from being distracted. But so I didn't want to talk about any hard feelings really, and I didn't really feel any hard feelings. Okay, and we talked. I didn't feel any hard feelings. Everything was good. And then later on, after she left, and I was like on like a high. I was like, oh, life is gonna be great. Like, wow, everything's gonna be good from this point on. Da da da. And then like slowly, my fears started coming back. And I started feeling all these emotions. Just first I started feeling like I had cheated myself for not talking about the things, at least not telling her how badly that she had hurt me, you know, and just being like, I forgive you, you know, because I do, but I don't want to hold on to these feelings either. Give me a moment, okay? Who? You gotta give me a second. Close my door. You have to give me a second. So, clearly I'm not be able to get into all the details because I can't even concentrate right now. But, but I didn't expect to feel so, to all my negative feelings to still be there. So, I started just feeling all kinds of fears, like, you know, am I ever going to be able to talk to her about what I want to talk to her about? You have to wait. You have to wait. I want you to stop interrupting me. You have to stop interrupting me. Okay, well, you're still interrupting me. So I'm going to have to stop there because I'm not going to really be able to finish this. I don't feel like editing it. I don't feel like doing any of that. So all the interruptions included. This is the story of my reunion, and maybe I'll be doing a part 2 of kind of like how all the subconscious feelings that are rolling back. You know, I was feeling like I'm pretty whole and that, you know, if I could just spend my relationship, then I'd be okay. But, you know, the truth is that I am dealing with issues of abandonment. And I am remembering things that I wish I could forget. And I don't know what to do with the pain besides just tell my story. So, it's up and down. All I can say is that as good as my adoption story is, and there's so many more joys, like being taken away from your mother at birth is a big deal for a baby. And it's such a big deal that you could be an adult and still remember the feelings that you had. Okay, so before I just close, something that I remembered that I had forgotten about is the fact that every time I would leave, even when I was having a good relationship with my mom, every time I would leave her, I would become overwhelmed with sadness. And I'd basically like cry my way home, you know. And today when I was thinking about that, because I woke up feeling depressed, you know, and I was like, why am I like this, you know? Because yesterday I was feeling like, oh my God, I don't know if she if she really loves me, you know. So I just sent her a message like, I really love you, just so she could say it back. And I'm like, okay, Janice, you go to sleep now. And then this morning I was just feeling like I just had this ugly ass memory, like about just being a baby and looking for my mother. So it's like, what the fuck am I supposed to do with that? Who gonna help me with that? You know, because you know, can't nobody help me with that.